Hello class, welcome to the first lecture on project management in a business startup environment. This module focuses on starting a business from the ground up and will provide information on how managing the business effectively will prove useful to any individual thinking of doing so. There will be video content in the form of lectures, some interviews from guest speakers, online quizzes and assignments. All video content will be available in the form of a downloadable file on the KP LAMA Education website. A common misconception about project management is that it only needs to be applied in a large-scale situation. Any thought on project management is associated with international corporations, multiple offices, and an extensive staff base. This module will help us understand why project management on a smaller scale is just as effective. In fact, a good project management strategy could be the difference that ensures a small business survives or dissolves, because large-scale businesses are already established and there is much less at stake. This is not to say project management should be taken lightly in a corporate environment, but much more attention has to be given to an organization and efficiency when dealing with startups, because there will be minimal stakeholders who all depend on the project going well. The smallest discrepancy in management could have the biggest impact on the project. First, let's ask ourselves, why manage? Project management ensures that any approach to a given task is an organized one. Successful project management borrows elements from time, quality, cost, resource, and functionality management to define a project timeline, which is the path from conception to completion. The key characteristic of a project is that it is not a continuous process. It will have an end, and this end will only be reached with an effective timeline that outlines realistic milestones. The good thing about studying project management is that it can be applied in any environment, as an individual will encounter countless projects on a day-to-day basis. From building a fence in your garden to building a 400-meter long bridge, anything can be a controlled project in that it will have a desired beginning and end with manageable milestones, budget control, and expected functionality. I'll show you the project management triangle on the next slide, but the main components of it are that it ensures the project is delivered to the best quality with minimum spend in the shortest period of time. Naturally, we can't strive to be entirely successful without using a guide or some form of instruction that's in place, so that's exactly what this model represents. From now on, as a rule of thumb, we can refer to the project management triangle. This triangle applies in both large-scale and small-scale situations. However, as we previously discussed in a startup environment, attention to detail is paramount. So let's go ahead and explore the triangle. We can see the corners are labelled scope, cost, and time. And rightly so, because these three elements will dictate how successful the management of a project will be. In other words, the quality. First, let's consider the scope of the project. This is the general function of the project. You can ask yourself these questions to determine what functionality you would like your project to have. What industry will your business be in? Will you provide a product? How many versions of that product will you provide? Will you provide a service maybe? What kind of marketing or outreach platforms will you include for your service? Who is the target audience? Do you know the age of your audience? Do you know where that audience is? How can you reach them? Finally, how easy will it be to implement? I want you to pause this video and write answers to each of these questions to gain an understanding of how crucial it can be to approach your business startup from all aspects and be as organised as possible. I want you to know that these 5 questions will make the primary assignment for this class. The 5 questions will basically be used as a business outline. I want you to determine what kind of business you would like to start up and what field you would like this to start up in. And then this assignment will turn into a bigger assignment where basically we will make a business plan, a full-length business plan. But for right now, I would like you to think about these 5 questions and then please answer the assignment that will be given alongside this. We can now move on to the other 2 corners of the project management triangle, and these are time and cost. Time is monitored as a schedule of events in the startup of the business that have been set as milestones to allow a project manager to keep track of what work has been completed until a given time and when the next body of work is to be completed by. Cost encapsulates the consideration of project budget and resource management and will be viewed as perhaps the most important factor in this triangle because of the interpretation that money going in and little organisation corresponds directly to money coming out. This is completely false, and it will be easy to see why in the next couple of slides. Time and cost engage together more than scope because most business starters have some idea of a desired function but have to strategize their approach to cost and time to ensure there is a minimum spend in the shortest time. This would be the ideal outcome, but projects do not always have a linear path to success, and any amount of hurdles could force a project manager to alter the time and cost expectations. Obviously, it will be impossible to have each of these factors managed perfectly, but the fact that they are represented as an equilateral triangle shows that they must be given equal attention to be optimally successful. And then finally, we have quality in the center, and this measure will shift position based on how much attention you give each other parameter. Remember that an equilateral triangle is equidistant from each corner. This brings us on nicely to how the project would be affected if 2 of these factors were considered more than the other. And we can see from this diagram that, well, it's not really a triangle anymore, it's more of a 3-scoop ice cream cone. So let's go ahead and just do this. There we go. Project management never looked so appetizing before. You'll notice that scope isn't featured on the ice cream cone, and this is because the model is based on the situation where a scope change should never occur. But quality defines the measure of how well the scope is implemented. Okay, so when time and quality are considered more than cost, it will prove to be very expensive and strenuous on resources, but in some cases this is entirely unavoidable. For example, if a project must meet a specified deadline, by all means a project manager may choose to focus less on the cost aspect as time is their most important factor. A benefit, however, of this approach is that the end product will still be of good quality. Next, we have a preference of cost and quality over time. And this would result in a slow but sure procedure in which the project would be completed to a very high degree with absolute minimal spend. However, it would take a very long time to achieve this. This isn't suitable for fast-paced environments where an individual, perhaps a stakeholder or partner company, has asked you to complete a certain task by a given date, or if a follow-up project depends heavily on the completion of yours. The final situation looks at when quality is sacrificed to meet demands of time and cost. This situation can arise from budget failure or failure to meet a deadline. In some cases, both, which will lead to a poor quality result. So far, we have looked at project management in a very general sense. The triangle sums up an average approach to management very well. However, to fully comprehend how extensive an individual project management task is, we have to explore it further. We know that each project is unique and is therefore not a routine operation. Moreover, a specific set of operations designed to accomplish an even more specific task. According to the Project Management Body of Knowledge Guide, published in 1996 by the Project Management Institute, we can divide the stages of management into 5 distinctive processes that cover the timeline from project conception to project completion: initiation, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and lastly, closing. Depending on the activity, the length of any particular stage can vary, and as this module only focuses on project management in a business startup environment, our second lecture will cover how these processes are likely to be handled in that situation, and also how the application of the project management triangle will help an individual achieve a successful business startup. Finally, following the questions that were outlined in slide 5 earlier, I would like each student to elaborate further on these and create a project brief, which will be used to form a business plan in the future, like we've discussed before. The business plan assignment will be available on the KP LAMA website following completion of Lecture 2. However, all project briefs should be emailed to kplamacontact@gmail.com before viewing Lecture 2. Remember to stay motivated about your business idea. The guidelines on project selection are extremely sparse in that the idea has to be feasible, legal, initially individual, and there should be a genuine purpose behind the idea. We say initially individual because we want you to start as project managers by yourself, but you can consider the addition of team members and other managers that could be on the board of directors. The reason I stress the importance of staying motivated is because the number one reason for entrepreneurs giving up is losing passion for their business idea, which you do not want to do, because this is the number one failure and it will result in your business being an absolute disaster. That's all for lecture 1. I'll see you guys in the next video.